Welcome. You just tuned in to the SEMAJvlog, episode 8. And today, we're going to be talking about turning stumbling blocks into stepping stones. That's right, turning stumbling blocks into stepping stones. So today, the talk is about how to use negative or bad situations, how to use them for your advantage, and how to use them today and in the future. So I want to start off this episode with a personal story. Back in 2018, believe it or not, the inspirational man that I am, with all the goals that I have in place back in 2008, not 2018, that's this year. 10 years ago, I was facing a felony charge. So your question is, well, how did that come about? Well, it all started with me and some friends. We were Snoop Dogging it, we were ginning and juicing it, and I just happened to have a little bit too much gin and not enough juice. And so we decided to go to a party later that night. And when we went there, nobody was really there. So we said, let's turn up some more. So we left, and then we went to another friend's house, and we completed the mission there. And all that night, though, I had my brother's gun, and I was showboating, showing it off and everything like that, and actually was shooting it in the air a couple times, just being a show off, ego swagging and stuff. But that night I was showing off, and I remember leaving this friend's house that we was turning up. We was getting ready to go to the party now. We had got word that, it was pretty packed now. So we were going to go to the party and be fashionably late. And I remember my friend whose house we were at, we picked him up. He was in the back seat. I remember him saying, hey, yo, Bree. That's what they call me, yo, Bree. I bet you won't shoot that thing. And I remember it was like he was actually beside me, even though I knew he was behind me. But I remember just cocking it and bow, letting it go. And then I remember us speeding off. And then after that, I remember my designated driver telling me, hey man, somebody's following us, man, and they in a white truck. And I remember even yelling at the white truck, like, yo, stop following us, you know what I'm saying, before you get this blah, blah, you know what I'm saying, showing off still. And so we cut a couple corners, and the next thing you know, I saw flashing lights, and I just saw the cops with their guns pointed at us, say, let me see your hands. All I could do, it was like in a matter of seconds, I saw the lights, and I saw the cops, and they said, let me see your hands, and my hands was up. And so that night, that moment right there, was a turning point for me. What happened is, I ended up getting arrested, and that put into effect a lot of things after that. Once I got arrested, I ended up losing my financial aid. I was in college, I was going to DeVry, I had made the dean's list, and I was studying to do business administration. And I got kicked out of school pretty much. And here I am, 18 years old, just now graduated, was in this first year of college, just 18 and facing a felony. And not only were just the facts of what I was facing pretty depressing, and even led me to sometimes to have had thoughts of suicide, even though those were bad in themselves, I also heard comments and opinions from friends and family members and just people on the outside looking in. And one of the constant things that I heard was that I had thrown my life away. And so I inside I knew, because I was already a pretty ambitious young man. Always had goals like I have now. I just have more knowledge about how to execute and reach those goals. But anyway, I got into this particular situation facing a felony, and although everything seemed to be against me, I knew that I could turn this around for my good. So, and this was only by the grace of God that I actually did turn it out for my good. But what I'm going to do is give you the formula. And I didn't even know the formula at the time that I was doing what I was doing. Like I said, it was just the grace of God. But if you look back, as I look back, I can see certain behaviors, certain things that I did, certain strategies that I took that I, didn't even consciously at the time know that I was taking. And so I want to give you that formula today, and hopefully that'll help you, because maybe your situation is not even a situation that you brought upon yourself, like me, getting in trouble with the law and things like that. Maybe it's a death of a loved one, somebody who's close to you, a spouse or something like that, somebody who meant something to you. Maybe it's you got laid off of your job, out of the blue. Whatever major life event that has this type of negative connotation to it, I want to help you turn that and use it for your advantage, and give you a strategy to help you win, even though it seems like all the odds are against you. All right, so point one in this situation is going to be give it a new meaning. So although I was facing what I was facing, and also hearing the opinions of other people telling me I'd throw my life away, I'm just a black man, as a statistic now, how am I going to get a job? Every time I got to fill out an application, I got to put felon, blase blase. I was facing all that, but I had to give it a new meaning. Like I said, I knew that that wasn't the end, that this wasn't the end for me. And so even though I was clueless about how I would overcome it, I knew that God would make this thing turn out for my good. And so I said, aha, it dawned on me. I said, I'll use my story of doing wrong to help others see what doing wrong can do, and what one little small stupid decision, how that can domino effect into your future. I'll use what I did wrong to show people not to do that, and I'll also use my music, because I was already hot on the scenes as a secular artist, and as artists in general, you say secular, say Christian. I'm an inspirational artist. I talk about faith, I talk about real life, real rap, lyrics and stuff like that in my music. Check me out at YoungSemaj.com. It's music there for you, some free stuff there for you, all type of things. But I wanted to say that give it a new meaning. So the first thing that you need to do is give it a new meaning. Don't give it the meaning to what most people are saying. Don't even give it to the meaning of what you initially are thinking. Find out what's the purpose in this, because whether you brought it upon yourself or whether it happened to you out of the blue, there's a purpose. God wants to use you. The universe wants to use you to help other people see something through this. He wants to bring something out of you through this negative life event. And so point two on that is going to be a combination of two things, and this is what I did. This is what I found out that I did. So once I got out of jail, got bonded out and everything like that, I was like, I see where this road is going. I just need to go to what I know. And what I knew at the time was when I was younger is I had this relationship with my creator. I had this relationship with God, and I knew it was real. In fact, it was kind of like God was like my childhood imaginary friend. In a certain sense, I would go out and play types of games, and God would be my partner or something like that. And so I had this deep relationship with God at a young age, and that was the one real thing, one solid thing that I knew that nobody else, could alter or anything like that. And so I returned to that, but I returned to it from an aspect of an 18-year-old, and I was really blown away you know, just by the radical things that the Bible saw. I saw it from a different light. I saw it from a light that was not necessarily taught to me at first, and I was learning, I was studying, and so I had to isolate myself. And a lot of people, counselors, pastors, they might tell you that isolation is not a good thing. But I'm talking about a combination. So in this particular situation, in my specific situation, and what helped me, and in this formula, you do need to isolate yourself, especially if your network is not conducive to where you're trying to go. You understand what I'm saying? And so, and then the only way that I was able to get to the other combination of isolation, I have isolation, or isolate and meditate. Meditate is the second thing. The only way to get to that a lot of times is to isolate yourself. That's why you see monks and priests and all these people who have a spiritual devotion or whatever isolate themselves, so that they can hear from God or from the universe, whatever you call it. They can hear from, you know, inside. And a lot of times that can't be done, you know, where there's a lot of noise and a lot of distraction. So you do need to isolate yourself so that you can meditate. And in the process of meditation and meditating on this, a couple things came out. So I isolated myself to find out who I was, and then I meditated to, number one, find out what I wanted, and then number two, to find out where I was going, and number three, to find out how I was going to get there. And so through isolation and meditation, those things came about, and I was able to formulate a plan and get focused. I didn't quite know everything about the plan, but I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do music, and I knew I wanted to inspire people. And so I began to do that. I began to network and make music at first, just, you know, build my skill, build my craft in the sense of going somewhere with it. And then I began to network. And so that's really, you know, the point two on that is to isolate and meditate. And so I did it, you know, the meditation through the word, but, you know, whatever it may be for you, where you just got to get to that quiet place and just hear that inner voice, or hear the voice of God, hear the voice of the Creator, and really go into inside yourself and do some work. And then that way you will really see what you really want. And once you know what you really want, and that's the problem with a lot of us, we don't know what we really want. I've tried this out. I read in the book, I forget which one it is, I think it was the Success Principles with Jack Canfield, but it talked about how a lot of people don't even know what they really want, and talk about asking that question, what do you really want? And a lot of times when we ask that question, what you know, what do you want, people say they don't know. And then what I found out through that book, and then through other motivational things and other studies, is if you ask a question, well, like, if you did know what you want, what would it be? Because we really know what we want, but it takes a little digging, it takes a little meditation, it takes going in, because we can say things on the surface if you throw those things out. All right, I want to keep this short, so I'm gonna move on to the last point, and that is collaboration. So we've talked about giving things a new meaning. We talked about the importance of isolating yourself and meditating to really do the inner work first, and so you can formulate that plan. And then what I quickly learned is that it takes a team. And even if what you're doing is like a one-man band, it still takes people supporting you to say, yeah, you're going on the right path, keep going, you know, keep pushing. You know, they might not be doing any of the particulars, any of the work or the logistics that you're doing. You might be doing it all yourself, but you need a support system, you know, because it gets hard and sometimes it gets discouraging. Okay, so that's why you need to collaborate for support, but also for creativity purposes as well. In my story, what I did is, once I launched out and said I'm going to tell my story, and hopefully that'll help people not make the same mistakes I made, and to give them a future, to catch them early, to deal with the youth, and to talk to them. Once I made decision to make that. I got to get up with some other rappers who had the same focus, who had the same vision, and we just took off and we flew across the United States. We went to Las Vegas, we went to Panama City, we went to New Hampshire, we went to Atlanta, we went to Texas, we went to Louisiana, we went to Kansas, did I say New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, Maryland. Wow, you know what I mean? I've done stuff with people overseas. I've worked with Lecrae, who is a Grammy Award winner, which I'll hopefully be able to show that picture in the video when we did a concert with him, and took a picture with Dickie Simpkins, who played with Michael Jordan when we was in Chicago. We went to Chicago. You know, got to meet a lot of great people, a lot of popular people, a lot of influential people, and not even the influential per se people, popular people, but made great relationships and great connections with people. And they were able to either put me on another person, and that's kind of how we all started. You know, we was on MySpace, and you know, it was in early days with it, with social media in the early days. It was on MySpace. So like once we went to Vegas and we started posting videos, people was like, hey, we got to get these guys out, man. And so we toured and everything like that, and the combination. So you need a team. You need to have a team. And even if it's, like I said, just a support team, that's what's been one of the things that's been you know, stopping me a lot. And I was telling somebody the other day about just me getting out and network, that I'm an introverted extrovert. So, you know, most of the time I like to be home, like to be with family, like just chill. But when I'm out, I can be the life of the party. It's just getting me to the point of getting out and networking. And so you got to network. You know, if you want to change, what's that rule? You are the sum total of the 5 people who you're in contact with, or the 5 closest people in your life. You're the sum total of that. So what's that saying? Birds of a feather flock together. You have to get around a circle of friends, a circle of family, a circle of people who are going to support you, support your goals, and you will be able to take this negative situation, this negative life event, and you'll be able to flip that. You'll have the energy that you need. You'll have the resources. If you are not just a one-man band, you'll have people helping you with this thing, so you can be laser focused on that thing, and you know, it'll be great. So, you know, in conclusion, like I said, is you have to, anytime that something major life event negative happens, you have to, number one, give it a new meaning. Why did this thing really happen? God, what really do you want to teach me? A lot of times we say why me, instead of what am I supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to do with this, God? And so that's the big thing. And then number 2 is you have to isolate and meditate. You got to get away from whatever you was doing and look in and meditate and think what you really want in life, where you really want to go in life, and then you've got to go for it. And you have to understand that you got to go for it with the team. And so if you do this formula, I'm sure whatever negative situation that's going on in your life, you can overcome. I hope that this was helpful. I wanted to go deeper in my story. I'm trying to cut these vlogs down. I'm trying to do better. I hope that y'all are getting something. Please like, subscribe, share. You don't know how important the share is to your boy. And I'm having fun. I hope y'all are having fun. A little bit under the weather, you might hear it a little bit, but thank y'all so much for tuning in. SEMAJvlog, we hitting you hard. Boom, boom, boom.